They judged him the moment he walked in. Not by his words, not by his confidence, but by his clothes. Dust on his shoes, a faded jacket, and eyes that never asked for approval. They laughed quietly, unaware that the man they dismissed was about to make a decision so big it would silence the entire room. Because sometimes real power doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself when everything changes. The showroom gleamed with polished chrome and quiet arrogance. Mercedes trucks stood like monuments to power and wealth machines meant for those who belonged. Then the door opened. A ragged man stepped inside, his coat worn, his boots dust-stained from miles of road. Conversations paused, eyes turned, smirks followed. He didn't rush. He didn't apologize for existing. He simply looked around, slowly, carefully, like a man measuring more than metal. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm and steady. "I'd like to take 5 trucks," he said. Laughter followed. They didn't know it yet, but in that moment, history had quietly walked through their doors. The laughter grew louder, sharper, cutting through the air like broken glass. Salesmen whispered. One shook his head in disbelief, another openly scoffed. They saw torn sleeves, tired eyes, and assumed poverty. No one asked who he was. No one asked why he wanted 5 trucks. They had already decided his worth based on what he wore, not what he carried within. And as they dismissed him with smiles full of mockery, they failed to realize judgment is often the first step toward regret. The ragged man didn't flinch. While laughter echoed around him, he walked closer to the trucks, running his fingers along steel frames and reinforced tires. He asked about torque ratios, load capacity, fuel efficiency across mountain routes. The room quieted, not because they respected him, but because they were confused. This was not the language of a beggar. This was the voice of a man who had lived on the road and mastered it. Sensing discomfort, the manager arrived with a practiced smile, polite but cold. He spoke of prices meant to intimidate, deposits meant to humiliate, numbers so large they were supposed to end the conversation. But the ragged man simply nodded. "Fair," he said. No argument, no fear, just patience. And patience, when paired with confidence, is a dangerous thing to underestimate. Amid the silence, one young employee stepped forward. No laughter, no judgment. She offered him a chair, a glass of water, a moment of dignity. They spoke quietly about routes, delays, breakdowns, and profit margins only experienced operators understand. Her eyes widened. This wasn't luck. This was experience forged on highways, not boardrooms. Then the phone rang. The man's posture changed. His voice sharpened. "Yes. Finalize the ports. Add 3 routes. So we scaled tonight." The room froze. This was no longer a joke. This was command. And with every word he spoke, laughter dissolved into fear. He ended the call and turned calmly toward the manager. A tablet slid across the desk. Account balances, contracts, authorizations. Silence fell like a hammer. The numbers didn't just prove he could buy 5 trucks. They proved he could buy the entire showroom. Faces drained of color. Apologies rushed forward. Too late. The truth emerged quietly. He was a logistics magnate, a fleet owner, a man who tested companies not with words, but with humility. The ragged clothes weren't a sign of weakness. They were a filter. And today, that filter revealed who deserved respect and who didn't. "Yes, I'll take the trucks," he said. Relief washed over the room, until he continued, "Not from them." He pointed instead to the young employee who had listened. Promotions were ordered, roles reassigned, respect rewarded, disrespect remembered. 5 Mercedes trucks rolled out under the afternoon sun. The dealership celebrated the sale but mourned the lesson, because the greatest mistake they made wasn't laughing at a ragged man. It was forgetting that greatness doesn't always arrive dressed for applause. And sometimes, the person you underestimate is the one who decides your future. That day, they didn't just lose a sale, they lost their pride. Because the man they judged by his clothes walked out with 5 trucks and left behind a lesson none of them would ever forget. True power doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't wear expensive suits or shout for respect. It stays quiet, waits patiently, and speaks through action. So next time you see someone who looks ordinary, remember this story. Because behind humility may stand greatness, and behind silence, a force strong enough to change everything. Thank you for watching Miracles of Kindness, where respect, humility, and hidden strength always win.